Okay. All right. Welcome. Welcome. We're just going to wait and make sure that we are actually live. I have not seen it come through. I think we're going now.
Yeah, it just told me on my phone.
Okay, good. Good. All right. Well, welcome. Welcome. Thank you for joining us. It's Katrina and Renay. Again, we said we were going to come live every week. And so this week we are talking about habits and goals, but mainly habits, because Katrina and I both, this is what we do. We help people build habits and shift mindset around whatever you need to achieve, whether it's weight loss, whether it's sleeping better, battling burnout, running a marathon, becoming a bodybuilder, whatever, it doesn't matter. But that's like the core of what we do and how you can achieve any goal that you want. And Katrina and I were just talking, and I'm going to pass it over to Katrina because we were talking about goals and how you set a goal. And, you know, I don't know if you've ever come across where if you set a goal for yourself of losing weight and you meet that goal and you're like, yay, woohoo, you know, I met this goal, but then you feel like a weight's been lifted off your shoulder because you met the goal, you've kind of slacked off a bit, and then lo and behold, you gain some of that weight back. So what we're going to talk about today is how you can change your identity so you don't feel like you're just achieving a goal, meeting the goal, and then you're done. It's more or less changing who you are. So I'm going to pass it over to Katrina because she can say this a lot better.
No, you're doing really good.
We were talking about it. So, but it's true. It's all about changing who you are. And it's a fascinating concept for sure.
Well, I think that's the key, the one key factor in creating habits that stick that people don't get, you can read all the books that you want and you can see everything. And yes, you want to like set yourself up for success, right? When taking on a new habit. But the commonality that I saw in a lot of my clients is that, it's easy to achieve a goal. Anybody can achieve a goal. So I was using the example of weight loss, I would say, okay, well, in 4 months, I want to lose 20 pounds. And so what do? Well, you start exercising, you start, eliminating all the crap in your house and you're eating healthy. And maybe you're tracking on MyFitnessPal and, you're marking on the calendar how many days you worked out. And then all of a sudden you're weighing yourself maybe every 2 weeks or once a month. And it's taking, like realistically, it'll take you about 4 months to lose 20 pounds and you hit your goal. So you did that and you're like, oh my gosh, I feel amazing. I bought smaller clothes and the scale is down and I feel great. And you go for a photo shoot and maybe you buy some new outfits and new shoes and new, workout gear. And then you feel amazing. But let's just say this is, the end of May. So the summer, you're like, okay, I can rock a new bikini. And then as the summer goes on, you start, noticing a little bit of a pudge and a little bit of pooch. And then come Halloween, you've gained your 20 pounds back. And you're like, what the heck? Like I was exercising and eating right. Well, the reason why we revert back after achieving a goal is because it is not your identity. You have not made that shift that I am now someone who exercises regularly. I do not eat processed crap food anymore because I care about what I'm putting into my body for the long term. People just do that to hit those short-term goals, and then you revert back to gaining the weight. So the shift here, the way to make a healthy habit sustainable and lasting is to become this new person. So I use the example of becoming a marathon runner. You might say, okay, I want to run a marathon. I've decided I want to run a marathon. So what am I going to do? I'm going to start running 1K. Then I'm going to run 3K, 5K. Now I'm up to 10K. Okay, I'm running 10K a week. Now I'm going to start training for a half marathon. And then in Fredericton, maybe some of you know, we have a big marathon on Mother's Day every year. So you can go and run the marathon. And of course, if you win, you get cash prizes and they qualify you for the big Boston Marathon. So if you go and you run this marathon on Mother's Day, and then, maybe you do it, are you going to continue to train to either A, beat your time, or do you want to qualify for the Boston Marathon? You are now a marathon runner. So you will continue your training and you will try to beat your time, or you will try to enter into other marathons, and you'll do all of these other little races that are around your local community because you are now a marathon runner. Or did you just do that to write it off your bucket list? Oh, I ran a marathon. I got my medal. I put it all over Facebook. Yay, me. I have my little medal and I hung it on the wall. I did that. Okay. And then you go back to what you were before. So there's the difference between hitting a goal and then reverting back to who you were, or making this a habitual change. Same as bodybuilding. You know, I mean, I was just saying to Renay, I've been lifting for 4 years. I have a foundation of muscle, but I have not made that shift in my head that I am a bodybuilder. And I'm not exactly sure if I want to do that. Like, I've made it a habit. It's a habit, you know, my healthy habit of exercising almost every day. Maybe there's 2 days a week I don't exercise, not consecutively. But I have not made that shift that I want to be a bodybuilder or a power lifter. You know, I lift because it feels good. Or let's change the outcome to becoming an author. You know, you might say, I would like to write a book. Okay, you want to write a book? Well, let's break this down. Let's say you're going to write a book. Do you know what you want to write it about? You know, yes, I know. I have my idea. I've got my plot. I have what I want to write. Okay, so I'm going to challenge you. You need to start writing 3 pages a day. All right, so we're just going to look at the next 6 months, and I want you to write 3 pages a day. Great. So in 6 months, you may or may not have written this book. If you haven't completed it, you're pretty darn close. But here's the change. Here's this mental shift. Are you a writer or are you an author? Where's that identity change? If you are an author, then you're going to complete that book. You're going to find an editor, and then you're going to research if you want to self-publish or have a company publish it. But having that identity shift inside where you're actually becoming and you believe, I am an author. Mm-hmm. I tell you, I'll share a little personal story with you. So I used to sell Mary Kay. And I was always, you know, I was a new mom and I was selling Mary Kay skincare and makeup. And I just wanted people to buy my product, you know, like you do these skincare classes and you get this product on their faces and then you hope to hell that people buy, you know, and you want to have these sales. And so I would go and I was working my tail off. I was like putting the product in everybody and make a few little sales, you know, here and there, nothing substantial. But I'll tell you, the minute that it shifted is I did a skincare class for a bunch of moms. And I did glamour looks because I was like, what the hell? You know, no one really buys a lot anyway. So I'm just going to have fun with it. And I had fun with it. And I totally got into it. You know, we have a day and night solution. And I was like, these are the pantyhose for your face. You know, your moisturizer is your drink of water. And I went right into it. I made it so fun. And then I was doing like, they were all Goddess on the Goes. You know, we had like this beautiful, like shimmer and shine Goddess on the Go lip gloss look. I don't know, minimal or diva, something or other. At the end of the show, I think that was like my first $3,000 class. And it was $3,000. I had this one mom come out as I was packing everything up. And I was like almost pooping my pants because I had never made a $3,000, show before. What? And she started crying and she gave me a big hug and she said, thank you. And I said, what do you mean? Thank you. And she was like, you made me feel beautiful today. And I haven't felt beautiful in a really long time. And for me, that shifted everything. I was no longer some woman trying to sell makeup. I was now trying to make women feel beautiful. So as soon as I had that identity shift in my mind, that I am now here to help you feel beautiful, I'm having fun with it. I had Micah, my little baby, she was strapped onto my chest because she was like, I had 2 other that were in school, but I had to bring the baby everywhere with me. And I had her in those big hippie snuggly thingies. And I was still able to work and I still was able to bring all of my energy. But that was the moment that shifted everything. And I understood it on another level. I wasn't just trying to sell makeup and skincare. I was making women feel beautiful. Mm-hmm. And from then on, my sales, I was doing $5,000 classes. I built a team. I became a Mary Kay sales director. I started having commissions. I was taking my team on limo rides. It was amazing. This is a long time ago.
That's awesome. Thanks for sharing that because it's true. It's like you have to have that mindset. And that's what we do as coaches. that's what we're trained to do. Is we're trained to build habits, to help you build habits. We're trained to help you shift your mindset so that you can achieve whatever you are trying to achieve. And it's, whether it's something you're doing as a, in your life or health or fitness, whatever it is, it's all the same process. It's all about shifting who you are, making those small little shifts, those small little habits that stick, that eventually you don't even think about anymore. And that's, as a nutrition counselor, it's funny because I can fit the diet mentality into this scenario as well. I mean, how many people go on a diet, whether it's, I don't know, keto is the big one right now. There's that's a huge shift for many people to do something like cut out carbs or have very low carbs. Is it something that's doable for long term? Probably not. And why? Because it's not something it's just not going to be what you do every day. It's always something you have to think about. Now, there'll be a few people that it is, but any kind of diet, at first it is like that. And then it just becomes who you are. Like if you want to be plant-based, you want to not eat meat ever again. At first, it's going to be a little hard and you start weaning off all the meats, and maybe you start trying to replace and still make things that look and taste like meat. But I think eventually what happens is you just realize how good you feel having a plant-based diet. And then you don't even have the need to eat that meat or make something that looks like meat, if you get what I mean. So it's the same thing there. It's just, like you mentioned, the marathon runner, the bodybuilding, the same thing. It's nutrition. It doesn't matter. You have to do that. And we have a neat little exercise that we do as well. That if you are trying to figure out where you should go and what you should do, we have tools that help with that, where you actually put yourself into that future person that is you. So we have neat little tools that really help. If you don't know, you kind of have an idea of what you're looking for, but you're not really sure. That's what we do. We help you build the blueprint. We help you figure out, really clarify what you're going for, and figure out little, your blueprint, your action plan to get you there, and, an appropriate time frame as well. Going back to the weight, it's like, yeah, I want to lose 50 pounds and I want to do that, in 3 weeks.
No.
Yeah, maybe, but is that the right way to do it? No.
With some laxatives.
Well, and then what do you do after? So so that's, I think everything you do, you have to figure out the little steps that are going to get you there, to get you to that new identity of who you are and who you want to become. It's a great mind shift when you do it that way, instead of, I just want to lose 20 pounds. No, I want to be this person. How are you going to feel when you lose that 20 pounds? Why do you want to lose 20 pounds at first? So those are the types of things that you need to dive deep and figure out. There's one thing we learned in the school that we went to is you need your big motivating factor, your MOFO. I forget what MOFA, not MOFO. MOFO is different. MOFA.
Renay, you're taking after me with the swear words.
I hang around you too much. Yeah. So yeah, but it's true. It's like, if you have to have that motivating factor. And we talked a little bit about this previously, that you have to be motivated to do it, but eventually the motivation goes away. And like you said, I think you said, Katrina, that, what did you say? It was like
human statistics is that we are only self-motivated, like really motivated, when you start something new, for about 2 weeks, maximum 5 weeks. If you're really gung-ho, then you can usually make 5 weeks on your own. But after 5 weeks, that's the time when you're like, okay, like, is this really worth it? But as I said before, staying the same is hard and change is hard. So you need to choose your hard. But we as human beings, normally we're motivated for 2 weeks. If you're a little above average, you're motivated for that, 5 weeks. But then after that 5 weeks, you're totally human. When that 5 week mark, you're like, meh, do I really want to keep going?
Yeah.
You might've written, like, maybe you've got 3 or 4 chapters of your book. This is such a time commitment. Can I continue to think? Do I have, all of these ideas, or am I out of ideas? And maybe I didn't really have a whole book inside me. Maybe I only had 3 chapters, So or can you find your groove? Can you get creative? Can you add more to your book? Is there more to your story?
Yeah. And that's important, because that's what you have to try to figure out. And what we can help you with too is, you actually, what happens when you lose your motivation? Is it something you've already become, whatever you've been doing has become part of you and is now part of your identity. You want to do that before you get to that point where it's like, oh, this is hard. It shouldn't be hard, because you're building up to that, and it should just be who you are by the time that you get to where you want to be. And then you just continue. So a goal is a goal, but then that shouldn't be the end of it. It should just be, I've met this goal. Like if you wanted to lose 20 pounds and you did, you probably don't want to lose any more, but you want to maintain that. So what does that maintenance plan look like when you get to that point? So
you are now a person that chooses to eat healthier and exercise, which is your new identity, instead of being a couch potato. Exactly. But this is where determination comes in. After motivation, your determination has to kick in. And then, once, determination will kind of take you to the other half of achieving your goal. But then once you've hit that goal, that's when you really, like, along this journey, you need to have that identity shift, because if you don't, you will revert back to who you were.
Yeah, because it's still who you are, basically.
Yeah, because you haven't changed. You've just done something different. And when we do different, we get different, but you're not going to be different unless you've made that shift.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. My personal story is I've been doing, I had to have an identity shift at the beginning of the year because of COVID. I have the COVID-19, like the weight, and it's like, oh man, Renay, you're a health coach, you're a nutrition coach, you know what to do. Yeah, but we're all human. And I just was like, fuck it. Like by the end of the year, I was like, oh, the holidays came and I'm just like, I'm going to have fun. Sweets were coming in my house. I was eating them like there was no tomorrow.
Me too.
I'm not a sweet person. Like I usually I like certain things, but then I get tired of them. But it was like that. And then, sugar, like, once you start having it, you got to have it. Like I need that sweet treat after dinner or after lunch or something. Oh, I need something sweet. Right. So January 1st, I was like, that's it. I just finished my reset program. But I started it early because I needed it. I needed to start it early. So I was quite pleased with myself that I was able to lose some of the weight that I had gained. And I hadn't started working out. It was all just a nutrition change for me, a mindset around, I don't need to have alcohol. I don't need to have sugar. And for me, I did some hypnotherapy because I'm a hypnotherapist as well. And it helped me get to my subconscious, and it really helps. It really works when you shift your mindset and say, this is who I am. I'm somebody that eats healthy. I'm not the person that sits and eats bonbons all day or just has to, have that snack all the time. And it just makes a world of difference. Funny enough, we went out last night for our anniversary and we had wine, and I was like, oh my God. But I've shifted my mindset with that as well. I'm like, it's not the same for me anymore, because I liked how I felt when I wasn't drinking wine and I was eating better, that when I went out to a restaurant for the first time and had this really amazing food, heavy food, it was so good. But then I had to deal with the effects afterward. And it's like,
restaurant food, I don't know what it is, there's just something.
I know it's so good, but it's like, oh man, I didn't sleep well last night, and it was because of what I ate and what I drank. It's like, all right, lesson learned, back at it. I don't need this. So it's just, that's what you have to get to, where it's like, you're allowed anything in moderation. And you want to go out and have a party and do whatever, but think about how you feel the next day or whatever you're doing afterward. Do you feel good? And then, maybe
sometimes that level of uncomfortable acts as your own personal motivator, like, oh my gosh, I do not want to feel like this. I know, like for my mom, she wanted to lose weight because she was sick of walking upstairs and being winded. Like she would walk up the stairs, and by the time she got to the top of the flight of stairs, she's like, she couldn't breathe. So she knew like weight had to come off, and her knees, like it hurt for her knees. So, I mean, whatever, it can be pain points that can trigger motivation. And, like, okay, I don't want to drink it. And that's what I was saying. Well, I was mentioning it when we just talked in my group about, the no beer for 1 year. There's, you can actually join this online. It's no beer 1 year, 1 year, no beer, something like that. Google it, and you can be sober for a whole year. So, but if you want to do that, you really have to make that commitment, and you need to stick to your why. Your why needs to make you cry, because if your why doesn't make you cry, it's not strong enough, because you're going to have to withstand, like other people in your life that may still want to drink. So can you stay sober for that 1 year?
And it's hard. And, it's one of those things where it's like, it's good, but it's like, I don't know how good maybe it is, because what happens after that year?
Right. Well, then you make that choice, right? Then you can make the choice. Okay, I'm never drinking again. It's the same thing. That would be a year goal. It's that goal. Do you want to be someone who never drinks again? And I have worked with people who have done that. They have shifted. They used to be, heavy into drinking, and they ate meat, and then they kind of had a spiritual awakening, and they decided, okay, enough. And they stopped eating meat, and they stopped drinking, and that's it. And this is their new identity. Mm-hmm. But it doesn't mean that they still don't get called. Like, they still have the cravings. They still get haunted every now and again by their old demons. They still get tempted, but they are stronger to fight that. If that's what you want to fight. I don't ever want to stop eating meat. I like eating meat. I've tried going vegetarian. It doesn't work for me. So, but I mean, not to say that other people can't. Maybe that they're so, whatever reason, it could be health, it could be, for the planet, for the animals, whatever your beliefs and your reasons are, that, I mean, kind of going off topic as far as like sticking to habits, but your belief system does come into it, because you are changing your identity. And if you are becoming someone new, a newer version of you, then it kind of all does come into play. And that is like a whole thing of the no beer for 1 year. And I've had friends that have done it. Okay, well, she was a marathon runner and she got into Boston, and she ran a couple marathons, and she actually won some marathons, and she made a lot of money, and she did not drink. And then after that 1 year, she was like, you know what? It didn't really make that much of a difference. So if she wants to drink every now and again, she will. That was her choice. She's still a marathon runner. She still runs. She is a very successful marathon runner, but she wanted to try it to see if it would enhance her timings or make her feel better. And she was like, I can't tell you that it made me amazing, and I was like super fast, and it like changed her health 100%. It didn't, but that was her journey. Everybody's journey is different. And I've actually worked with some people who, quit 30 years ago, and they will never drink again. But they're fine being around other people that can drink, but they will never drink again. Yeah. And that's
everybody will have whatever that is, how they feel and who they are around something like that, for sure.
But that's a major identity shift.
Yeah. And that's what you just need to figure out, is what is your identity, and I think that's the whole point of what we wanted to get to you guys today is, we are, because I know we're getting close to time, so I don't want to hold up, but we are offering the laser coaching sessions. So if there is a goal, or if there is something that you're looking to achieve, reach out to us, because we have this session. It's a 90-minute session, $125. And what you do is we'll come in, we dig deep, we go deep for those 90 minutes, and you come out with an action plan and a blueprint to actually get you on your way and get you going and figure out what that new identity is and how you can get there and how long it will take. So we help you with that. So if that sounds interesting, then definitely reach out to myself or Katrina. You can DM us, or that's probably the easiest thing to do, DM us. And also one thing, we'd love to hear from you too in the comments. If you're watching this on replay, tell us that, but tell us if you are looking for a new identity, what it is. What do you want to be? And then tell us, what are you going to do to get there? Give us a habit that you're going to try to start doing on a daily basis, and make sure it's small, it's doable, and it's not completely overwhelming. These should be small little, as Katrina says, 1% things to actually get you to where you're going. We'd love to hear, we'd love to see what you have to say. That would be great. So yeah, type it in the chat, let us know. Awesome. Well, I will let you guys get back to it. It's coming on 1 o'clock Eastern time, 2 o'clock Katrina's
2 o'clock my
so,
time.
yeah. So I hope you guys have a great afternoon, and yeah, have a great day, and we will chat soon.
See you next week.
Bye.
Bye.